Kind of a weird week this week. We didn't get as much done as we wanted to because we had things breaking on us constantly. So the tractor, I mentioned in the last video, the hydraulic cylinder on the curl motion, this cylinder right here, the ram was bent in it. Completely my fault. We took that to Pontotoc, Mississippi, which is a half-hour drive. So it only cost $75 to get it fixed, but it took 4 half-hour one-way trips. So half hour there to drop it off, half hour back, half hour there to pick it up, half hour back, 2 hours in the vehicle. So however much gas that is, or diesel, however much diesel that is for my truck, plus the $75 to get that fixed. So that's pretty cool. Not the end of the world. Got that going. That took up Monday and Tuesday of no tractor time. And then I think it was on Wednesday I started to notice a leak in the hydraulics on the steering assembly. So this is the power steering for the tractor, and this fitting right here, this 90-degree elbow, it's one of those 90-degree elbows that has dual threads over there on that side. So there's threads to engage this into that piece over there, so you can thread it in a couple different times. And then you don't have to tighten it all the way up. You can position it on whatever angle you want. And then there's a jam nut, a washer, and an O-ring that actually locks this in place. So there's dual threads on here. And then that's where this is where the hydraulic supply comes in for the power steering. Well, it was initially leaking back here behind this washer. So I had to take this off to replace the O-ring. Well, I don't know if this is bent. I think this is bent, which I don't know how it could get bent if this is actually, if the cylinder itself or this ram itself is actually, you know, essentially shielding it. I don't know how it can get bent, but nevertheless it got bent. I think it got bent a little bit. So it's leaking inside. I think there's a small crack inside this that's leaking. Well, I didn't figure that out until I took this off. And in taking it off, I had to jack up the front of the tractor so that I could manually twist the tires for the steering to push this in so that this notch right here lined up with this part of the 90 over here. That way I could unscrew it. Well, there was still some interference there. I don't understand what engineers were thinking. Like, what's the order of operations here for assembling this? If this ram is in the way to put this in, doesn't make much sense. So I had to use a piece of plastic, kind of like a thick lubricant, I guess you could say, to get this to spin around. It gummed up this a little bit. I put it back together. I got the leak to stop there. I got the leak to stop here, started working, and then it just started spraying everywhere. So this needs to be replaced. I'm not sure if that's a warranty issue, warranty part, or if I have to do that myself. But regardless, the tractor is down to, once again, being out of commission. So it's the weekend. It's Saturday. This leak didn't start really going bad again until late Friday. So parts places are closed. I have to wait till Monday to figure out a solution to this, and who knows, I may be out of tractor for a couple weeks. I'm not sure, but that is super annoying because all I have to do is tractor work, right? Everything that I have to do is tractor work. But I don't know if you noticed these orange stakes in the ground. There's one right there. I can't see the screen, to be honest with you. There's one over there, one over there, one over there, and one over there. I have no idea if I pointed to them or not. But this is the shop. This is the shop layout. I've cleared up enough of the burn pile on that side, so the pad is going to go right here. So the driveway comes in on this way, on this direction, and we're paralleling about 40 feet back to the front of the shop. And then the roof itself is going to be a 60 by 60 roof, but the shop is going to be 40 by 60 with a 20 by 40 lean-to. So the lean-to is going to be on the left-hand side according to the camera, and that's the side where the sun sets. My thinking there is the house will be over there. So I don't know if you can see those again. There's 2 more orange stakes for the front corner of the house. So the house will get the morning sunrise on the front porch. So as the sun comes up to the camera right, it's going to shine onto the porch of the house, which is what we want. That way you have a good morning sunrise at the house. But also when it's time to start work for the day, the front porch of the shop is facing west. So the front porch of the shop is not baking early in the morning, which is what I want. And then as the sun starts to set over there, the front porch of the house will be facing east, so it's not going to be baking in the evening as we're trying to wind down for the night. Maybe we want to use our front porch there. Well, the sun will be at our back, so it's not going to be baking there, because in the evening I won't be over here working, right? Makes sense. So there's a specific orientation that we wanted here on the 2 acres, mainly due to the sun. Now, water and electricity, that's still up in the air, because when I had the electric company come out here for the first time, well, I guess the only time, to actually measure where we wanted to put everything, electricity was going to go, you can't see it, but right in the front of that tree line right there is a stake with a white flag. That's where electricity was going to terminate, and that would give me 200 feet, a little bit less than 200 feet to the shop, and then a lot less than that to the house. So I was going to have two services right there for the shop and for the house. So that was the initial plan, and I really want to change that. I have to run it by them again, because I've knocked 250 feet off of the run, which, if I'm not mistaken, is about $2,500 that I can knock off of the run, and also make it a heck of a lot better for the way electricity actually comes to these two structures. Here's some huge root balls, by the way. This one's almost as tall as I am, so that's probably about 1.5 feet off the ground. Oh, dumb jokes. All right, so over here, this is where I now want the electricity to terminate. So it's going to have one of them like little turtle boxes. I don't know what they're called, just little boxes on the ground, because it's all going underground. But if I go right here, I'll show you in a second, but there's a clear path right there from the driveway culvert that'll knock off a tremendous amount of run for the electricity. If I can get them to trench through those trees, which I'm going to clear out as much as I can up to the pines where they need to trench, and hopefully that'll be okay. That'll leave me with 120 feet to where the breaker panel approximately will be in the shop, and about 120 feet approximately to where the breaker panel will be in the house. So this right here seems to be a much better location as far as electricity. Now I'm going to walk you back over here for the electricity. The only thing, like I said, is getting them to come through this whatchamacallit, the little trail, this clearing. So I'm gonna I still have to clear out a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna take down everything that's in the path as far as trees go, smaller trees, and I'm gonna stump grind everything else. You can already see all the way up there to the driveway. So basically from these two big pines, that's gonna be the lane that they can get their trencher through. I don't see an issue with that as far as the trencher actually working. Anything that the trencher can't get, they said they're going to use a mini excavator, which this looks like it's plenty enough space. So I'll get rid of these two trees, stump grind everything through here, clear up the rest of these trees. This is all with the rotary cutter. All this work I've already done is just with the rotary cutter, cutting up a bunch of small stuff. So all that's back here is small stuff. I haven't chainsawed anything through here. Eventually, the driveway's over there, and the driveway wraps around and turns into the front of the clearing where the video started over there. Now, all of this, I want to eventually clear every bit of the underbrush, every single tree that's not a pine. So I'll have a big, tall pine stand. These pines are huge, right? I'll have a big, tall pine stand with nothing on the ground, and I'll have clear visibility from the shop through the trees into the driveway. That way I still have privacy from the road, but I'll have a view of anyone coming into the property way before they get to the clearing. So that's the plan anyway. So I've got to clear these regardless, but I'm thinking that this is plenty enough space, if they'll actually do it, to trench through. I mean, there's nothing on the ground right here anyway. But if I can get them to trench through right up here, this comes out right at the culvert in the driveway, which is about halfway up the driveway. Yeah, I guess the culvert's actually a little bit more than halfway up. But like I said, this knocks off 250 feet of trenching. So yeah, hopefully that's a big cost savings. Now all of this, like I said, will be cleared out. That's priority number one, is to finish clearing this path out, and then rather going straight to the driveway, there's an old four-wheeler trail right here where they were used to, that was a mud hole right over there. So they made this four-wheeler trail to come through here and go around the mud hole. But that's another straight shot right here that actually lines up better with the driveway, because the driveway snakes around that way, comes straight onto the camera, and then turns off over there. So hopefully they accept this offer. I got to do a lot of cleanup here, or this request I should say. Got to do a lot of cleanup through here. There's the culvert that we had to put in to get the water from this side over to there. All right, so let me try and get out of here without getting poison ivy. But let me get out of here and walk to the, ouch, to the road up here. Actually, let's just keep chit-chatting. So right through here we'll have to go. I'm gonna go right through here because it's closer. Ugh. All right, back on the driveway. So and the reason why I want them to do that rather than going to the original spot, because the original spot's on that side of the driveway. So if I have electricity that starts on the left side of the driveway, crosses the driveway, and terminates on the right side of the driveway, well, it becomes problematic when you're running water too, because water has to come down this driveway as well, and they have to stay 4 feet apart. So anywho, let's speed up and just walk real fast to the road. All right, I'm out in the road actually. Another good milestone is we finally got approved for an address. So we established a new physical number for this address, and that's required before you get utilities turned on, obviously. And before I can get a trash receptacle from the county, I had to put this post in. So I dug this post hole today, which, let me tell you, this type of material right off of an old road, and it's nothing but super hard clay and rocks and asphalt millings. That that was not fun, we'll say that. We were finally issued an address, so that means I needed to put a mailbox up, obviously. I still need to put the numbers on the side. They require us to have our numbers on the side, but the cheapest mailbox I could find, the cheapest post I could find, just to check the box is checked. I eventually want to change this out to something nice, but I'm going to save that for when we do the gate. When we do the gate, I'll design a matching post to go here, and we'll worry about curb appeal later. But as of right now, check the box. So that was a good milestone for today. We got that done. Now, water and electricity. Here's our power pole. So that's conveniently located right at the start of our driveway. But if you remembered me saying, the electricity was originally planned on terminating on the left side of the driveway all the way to the back into the clearing. It'll be on the left hand side, which means that causes problems with water, because the water meter is going to be somewhere over here. The water is on that side of the road. They have to bore underground, and it's going to be a little bit more than $2,000 just to have the meter set. I think it's 800 bucks for the meter, 800 and some change for the meter, and then another 1,200 and some change to bore underground. So a little bit more than $2,000 just to get the meter set. Then from there, I'm going to rent a trencher, and I'm going to lay 1,250 feet, if I get that side, 1,250 feet of 1.5-inch PVC pipe. That's the plan anyway for the water. But I want to designate the left-hand side over here for water, so I really need these guys, electric guys, to accept my plan to stay on the right side and go through that section over there. Whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. I sure hope that they do that. I don't see why they can't. If I get all the trees out of the way, if I use a stump grinder to grind the stumps to where it's just, I mean, just digging in dirt. I don't care if it's the driveway or if it's through the trees, it's digging in dirt. Hopefully they'll go for that plan. But one benefit of having the water on the left-hand side is I want to have a spigot over here on the left-hand side as well. So we just passed through the imaginary gate that will eventually be there, and now we're inside the property. quite a ways, and I want to have a spigot, water spigot, in between these two big trees. That way, any of our friends and family who's leaving, maybe they're leaving with their side-by-side or their four-wheeler, and they can stop up here on their way out and hose off anything that they want to hose off. And it's not really going to matter because this all drains wonderfully through that culvert. So this is a really good drainage situation. So it sounds like it'd be a good spot to have like a utility clean-off station right here. Also, this is the turnaround tree in the driveway, so having a few things around here will be convenient. Plan B for the water and electricity. If they don't, actually, you know what? I gotta back up to the road to say plan B. All right, back at the road. Plan B, if the electricity must terminate on the left side of the driveway for whatever reason, then I'm not gonna have the meter set over there. I'll have the meter set right here. So I'll have to rotary cut all this down, and it's going to be super annoying because electricity, I'll have to have them immediately go to the left hand side. That way I can take this water meter staying 4 feet away from the pole at a minimum to cut through all of this crap over here, come down this hill, and then at that point water can stay on the right side, electricity can stay on the left side. So we have an acceptable plan for plan B. The more I think about it, the more I just really want the electricity to terminate on the north side of the clearing and not the south side of the clearing. That's going to save me 250 feet of the initial run, and that's also going to save me quite a bit as far as going from where they terminate to hooking up into the shop breaker panel. So I just want a decision, and I'm one of them really impatient people. Like, I need to know something. I need to know something. It's the weekend, so of course I can't get an answer. But there's that. That's the water and electric situation. So this really has been a Murphy's Law kind of a week. You know, anytime you're doing a big project like this, obviously 100% of everything can't always go right. You know, there's got to be some hiccups here and there, and we've already had a few. But this past week, like I said, Murphy's Law has just been kicking our butt. So I've already mentioned that I messed up the ladder. I busted the ladder. That was the $230 ouchie. That kind of hurts even more because I don't know why I did not check Facebook Marketplace to get a replacement ladder. I just bought a brand new one, and it could have saved quite a bit on a used ladder. Whatever. And then after that, I bent the cylinder on the tractor. I've already talked about that. And then we have the hydraulic leak on the tractor. I've already talked about that. I have a Steel Magnum 600, I think, leaf blower, backpack leaf blower. Well, I park my truck in the shade every morning, and then at noon there's no longer shade right there, so I move it once a day when I'm out here to go into some more shade. I parked it, nothing around the truck. Nothing, absolutely nothing around the truck. And then my wife puts a leaf blower, that leaf blower, next to the front right tire. I didn't see that, so I backed up a little bit, turned the wheel, and crunch, 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 crunch. What in the bleepity 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 bleep was that? Back up, get out, and then my leaf blower's in a bunch of pieces. It's like, dang, that sucks. So there's no fault there. I guess ultimately it's my fault. I'm the one who ran it over. Wasn't expecting that to be there, but it was just a circumstantial thing. So that kind of sucks. I imagine the leaf blower itself is still good. I haven't messed with it at all, but I think the plan there, because it's mainly the cage that everything bolts to, the skeleton, I guess you could say, that everything connects to, that actually got crushed. I think I'm just going to mount it to a piece of plywood, and then mount a fuel tank to it, and then basically get it to where instead of being on my back, I could use it on a two-wheel dolly. I think that's the cheapest way to salvage that. I can still move it around on a two-wheel dolly, basically the same as if it was on my back. No big deal. So that kind of sucks. And then my chainsaw, I have a Stihl MS250 chainsaw, and I don't know what's up with it. I just have zero power. I can cut like 3-4 inch diameter stuff. It's got an 18-inch bar on it, and it used to just plow right through material. It used to cut really good. Now, of course, that has a lot to do with a sharp chain and whatnot. Well, I know how to sharpen a chain quite well, and you can verify that by the size of the chips actually coming off when you're cutting. It's cutting like it should. It's not making dust. It's actually making nice sized chips. So the chain itself is sharp. It's verifiably sharp. Just don't have any power on that saw anymore. So cutting like a 10-inch diameter tree, it won't cut through it. It just bogs down, like almost as if you're trying to be way too aggressive, just, you know, just wrenching on it, right? And I'm not. Just letting the machine do the work, right? Well, there's no power. So I've been using that with zero maintenance, other than just wiping it clean. Zero maintenance for the past 5 years or so. So I think I'm going to order a carburetor kit, tune-up kit off Amazon. I think you can get the whole carburetor, air filter, and a spark plug for like $22, something like that. So anyway, kind of a Murphy's Law uneventful week as far as getting stuff done, but it is what it is. We move on. That's it for this video. You guys take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next one.